Browsing itch.io for free games is kind of like looking around an op shop. It feels amazing when you find something really cool, but 99% of the time, you're just gonna find some junk that nobody really wants. But that's exactly why I love doing it. It's the thrill of the hunt. There seems to be a massive abundance of visual novels and horror games on itch.io, so I dug through a bunch of horror game garbolium to bring you 4 fun, yet extremely unsettling, itch.io games that are completely free. Without a Trace is the first game released by indie developer Obsession. It opens with quite a nice cinematic cutscene. There's a bloody corpse dragged out of sight in the local convenience store. It looks like some bad stuff has gone down. Then we cut to Alice, our story's protagonist, as she pulls up to a pretty dilapidated looking cabin in the woods. Once we're in the house though, it doesn't look nearly as bad from the inside. It's pretty damn nice actually. We get a text message on our lovely, low-resolution iPhone 4. Looks like Alice's parents are running late on their trip, and they may not be home for a while. Oh hell yeah, there's pizza in the fridge, parents aren't home. This is gonna be a good night for Alice. This is where we get our first taste of the gameplay. We've been told to grab some pizza out of the fridge, and now we can freely move around the house. The first thing I noticed is this big ass bottle of drink on the table. That's gotta be like American sized, right? Because we don't get anything nearly that big in Australia. I'm kinda jealous. Then again, a lot of things seem bigger than they should be actually. Like that knife next to the bottle is massive, and that bottle of oil next to the stove is ludicrously large. Weird. Anyway, once you grab the pizza from the otherwise entirely empty fridge, you can head over to the couch to eat dinner and watch a Twitch stream. Man, Alice is living the good life tonight. I mean, if you ignore the shadowy figure watching her from the bedroom, I guess. I love that after the cutscene, you're supposed to have finished your pizza and you're ready to head to bed, but the entire pizza is still sitting there untouched on the table. I guess the dev missed that little inconsistency. Also, why does Alice have a gigantic PS4, but no TV to hook it up to? Better question, why is her PS4 controller almost completely invisible? The next morning you get up and receive another text message from your parents. They're still running late, and they ask if you can do some chores around the house. Then, go to the store and get yourself a little something something for your hard work. You need to do the washing, clean the floors, and take out the trash. Ugh. There's not really much to the gameplay here. This is more of a storytelling and vibes kind of game for sure. After that, it's time to head to the store. You know, the one from the starting cutscene? Oh no. I'm sure it'll be fine, right? I thought instead of heading straight to the car, I'd try and wander down the road and see what happens, but as I was walking down the middle of the road, a deer ran out from the bushes and it legitimately scared the absolute crap out of me. So I bailed on that idea and I decided to head back to the car. Better play it safe. Inside the store is where I realised just how much I love the art style for this game. The compressed to hell textures on all the boxes lining the shelves, and the photoreal facial textures on the low poly model of the shopkeeper. This is one of my favourite art styles and a lot of indie games are going with it these days. Sure, it might be a little bit overdone at this point, but it just tickles something in my brain. It makes me happy. It's this sort of surreal, absurd, yet almost familiar look that you just don't get anywhere else. The shopkeeper warns you about these creatures that live around here, but he's so freaked out, he can't really get out a full sentence, and in the end he just mumbles, "Be careful." Once we're home, and we've put the shopping away, it's time for bed. Man, that must have been a really long trip to the shop. All Alice did today was a few minutes of housework, then go to the shop, and it's already time for bed. Time is weird, but not as weird as things are about to get for Alice. I love this. The screen fades to black, and then in bold red letters in the middle of the screen, it flashes the text, "Open your eyes." They do this with the text a few times throughout the game, and I really like it. I'm not sure why. It just has this kind of subtle intensity to it, as a way of getting the message across. Then, the next thing we see is a giant eyeball with wings in the sky. More blink in and out of existence all around this one. If you look around, you'll see you're in a grassy field surrounded by some giant CRT TVs. Some are on the ground, and others are hanging from cords in the sky. My first thought when I entered this place: weirdcore, nightmare, dreamscape. I think that sums up a lot of this game. I spent a lot of time in different areas of this game just recording footage to use as backgrounds for my videos. It's such a beautifully crafted world. I felt like I had to take the opportunity to gather as much footage as I could. In this area, you can see in the middle of the field the cabin that Alice is staying in. So obviously, you're going to make a beeline straight for that. This place is weird as hell. You just want to admire it for a second, but then get out of there as fast as you can. As you get close to the cabin though, there's a gong sound, and then in big red letters in the middle of the screen, the word run. And the sky becomes pitch black, filled with hundreds of eyes all staring back at you. That is really friggin' unsettling if you ask me. This is the point in the video where I feel like I need to stop doing a play-by-play. This is where the game gets really interesting, and I don't want to spoil it for all of you. It's one of those games that's definitely better to be played blind, I think. So I'll be a bit more vague now, rather than doing a play-by-play, like I said. Now you spend your time trying to escape this weirdcore nightmare hellscape. You can always tell where you need to be running. It's either a rectangle in the center of the room, or it's your cabin. It's never really a puzzle to figure out where you're meant to be going. It's all about the eerie vibes, and trying not to freak out as you make your way through this unusual world. One area has a moment of peaceful respite though. There is a bench overlooking a river, and of course, a wall of giant CRTs. Because what's more relaxing than that, right? I sat down on the bench and just listened to the ambient soundtrack and watched the camera angles change for about 3 minutes before I realised this isn't a cutscene. It's just a beautiful moment that you can end whenever you like. Just a moment of peace. So eventually, I got Alice to leave the bench and continue on her journey to exit this dreamscape. After around 5 to 10 minutes of exploring these surreal, liminal worlds, you'll reach an endpoint. I'm not going to explain what happens. I think you need to play this game for yourself if it looks like something that you would be interested in. My playthrough of this game lasted 26 minutes, and that's with probably 6 minutes just staring at the screen recording footage for backgrounds. So if you're in a rush, you could probably get through it in 15 minutes. If you take your time, 20, 25 minutes. You do eventually wake up back in your cabin, snugly warm under that tiger blanket that everybody and their mother had at some point in their life. Hell, me and my partner still have a similar tiger blanket that we get out every winter when it gets particularly cold. What's the deal with the tiger blankets back in the 90s? I feel like everybody had one, but I've never thought to ask anybody, why? Why did you buy a tiger blanket? Why did everybody buy a tiger blanket? I was going to get mine out for this shot and show that, yeah, we have one too, but it's packed away and it's a pain in the ass to get, so you're just going to have to believe me because I can't be bothered. Sorry. Oh yeah. So you're awake back in the cabin. As you leave your bedroom, run! Want to know what happens? Click the link in the description to download Without a Trace and experience this beautiful, unsettling, liminal, weird-ass game for yourself. Anatidaephobia, the fear that somewhere, somehow, a goose is watching you. I remember reading about this online many times throughout the years, but I kind of struggle to believe it's a real thing that anybody actually suffers from. That is, until I played Anatidaephobia Synthesis. This is a game by the aptly named Goose Stranger, who has been pumping out games on itch.io since 2021. I'm definitely going to have to check out some more of their games after seeing titles like Tales from Billy McFrost, Pigfoot's Bad Hair Day, Christopher's Silly Mansion, Yeehaw McGee, Dinobot Hunter, and Catrussi. But I think I'll save those for another video. None of them really sound like they fall under the category of unsettling. Except for maybe Catrussi, but maybe that's more disgusting. I mean, ugh. Anatidaephobia Synthesis is a game in which you find yourself tasked with the job of creating a cure to Anatidaephobia, a disease that turns people into geese. But of course, the building that you're working in houses some of the victims of this horrific disease, and they are mean. Just like real geese, I guess. The game starts you out with a little tutorial section, showing you how to make medicine by creating 3 vials of Rostrafil. The computer terminal shows you that this is treatment for some of the early symptoms of Anatidaephobia, but it will not cure the patient entirely. you need to collect a mushroom and an apple for each vial of Rostrophil. So, it's time to head out of the lab, brave the fears that await outside, and go foraging for some apples and mushrooms. Just outside the lab is a room with some mushrooms growing out of the walls and the floor. This place looks like it's in rough shape. I wonder if it's been abandoned due to these geese people. If you walk through the central door of the mushroom room, you'll find a room with... Oh God. Oh God. Is that an apple turning into a man? Or a man turning into an apple? Which way is it going? I can't tell. Ugh. It looks more apple than man at this point. That is... unsettling. Oh well, there's plenty more normal apples growing from the tree in the center of this room, so we can grab those and head back to the lab. Back in the lab, you can press the prep button at the bottom of the screen to head to the prep station, the starting point for creating any medicine. Select your ingredients and dispense them into the vial. Once you have the desired ingredients in the vial, you can move it to the side of the screen, where it'll move on to the mixing station. Drag the vial under one of the mixers and wait the desired amount of time. You can see a progress bar above the mixer. We're told we need to mix until the timer reaches the second bar. This takes a lot longer than you might expect, and it's very unnerving just sitting there waiting for it to mix, not knowing what else is out there, and just hearing some very eerie noises. After this, it moves on to the final station, the computer station. Here you need to place the vial into the side of the computer to analyze its contents. And if you did everything right, you'll have a vial of Rostrophil. Once you've made 3 vials, you get the mission complete screen. Hell yeah, on to mission bravo. This time, there's no tutorial text. But if you head to the computer, you can see in storage it says Rostrophil 0 out of 1, Swanavin 0 out of 2. So I guess that's what we need to make next. The computer's logs once again have some more information that we need. Swanavin is a medicated rub applied to a patient's neck. It decelerates the speed in which Anatidaephobia causes the neck to elongate. Swanavin has also been seen to ward off others infected with Anatidaephobia. I feel like that tidbit could come in handy later down the line. To the side of the screen, you can see it requires an apple, a mushroom, and... well, for a little while there, I thought this was a chunk of wall. I honestly don't really know how I got that idea. I think just because in the lab there's all these walls that are like falling apart, and I thought maybe you grab a chunk of plaster or something off the walls. Sometimes I really question how my brain works, because in hindsight that just seems ridiculous. Oh man, stress will do some things to you. This game's a little bit stressful. It's actually snakeskin that we need. Yeah, that makes a little more sense, I guess. You can also see that it requires being mixed for 2 bars of time, just like the Rostrophil. So from here, I headed out into the mushroom room and grabbed myself a few more mushrooms. Then I made my way into the room on the right. Oh crap. That must be one of the people infected with Anatidaephobia. Why is he looking at me like that? I don't like it. Anyway, I of course decided to steal one of his eggs, because why not? It's not like he has a look of murderous intent in his eyes or anything. Ooh, maybe I'll take a second egg. Ooh, maybe even take a third. I just about leapt out of my chair when this happened. I was really not expecting that. I probably should have been though. So it looks like this is a sort of Five Nights at Freddy style game from what I can see in the comments on the itch page. I've never actually played one of these kind of games before, so I had no idea what to expect, which made it all the more terrifying when I was aggressively screamed at by a goose man. I guess next time I better be more careful. Maybe a bit faster. I wonder if there's something I can make to chill this goose fella out. You know, while I flog his eggs. What was it again that the computer said earlier about nutrients in mushrooms? Helping geese people during their nesting period? Once again, I'm going to leave the play-by-play there. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. These videos aren't made to show you everything in the game. They're made to help you get a sense of what the game is like, so you can decide for yourself if you're interested enough to play it. Because it's a game, and that's where the real fun is, playing it. Anatidaephobia Synthesis is a hard game. A very hard game. I lost about 6 times on Mission Bravo at different areas. Sometimes I'd get further than other times, but in the end, I would always lose. I thought about it later, and I had a realization. I can turn off my machine in the lab with a switch at the mixing station. Is that like in Five Nights at Freddy's, how you meant to turn out the lights sometimes to keep yourself safe? Was I just missing a fundamentally necessary part of the game, and that's why I kept losing? I might actually need to go back and try later, because I genuinely enjoyed the atmosphere of this game, and I wanted to see how it ended. To see if I could ever create a cure for Anatidaephobia, but I just wasn't good enough. No matter how fast I moved my cursor, I couldn't do everything before a goose, or sometimes a snake would jump out and get me. Really, I just need to know. What's the deal with the apple fella? Is he friend? Or is he foe? Boom! My Pet Human Hubert. With a name like that, how could I not take a little peek at this one, eh? This game is by indie dev Perma Online, who seems to specialise in games of the uncanny and often unsettling variety. This game, of course, is no different. As soon as you open the game, you're thrown right into things. Who has time for a title screen? Not Hubert, clearly. So, you play as this little Doberman fella who just kinda marches on the spot until you start moving him. And on a leash is his pet human, Hubert, who, he looks like he's seen some shit, man. Ugh. There are no instructions or anything. You just kinda start exploring the world and see what happens. Pretty quickly, you'll come across a fire hydrant though, and as you may expect, if you've watched any cartoon like ever, Hubert, being the dog stand-in for this game, needs to relieve himself on the hydrant. You'll notice that the yellow meter by Hubert's terrified mug has gone down a notch. So, we have a goal finally. Empty Hubert's bladder. While you're walking around the block, a car will occasionally zoom by at dangerous speeds for a small suburban neighbourhood. Make sure that you and Hubert aren't on the road when it comes by, or... Oh, Hubert. You were too beautiful for this world, man. You will be missed. Oh well, better try again. Okay, so if you walk around the block and pee on 4 fire hydrants without making Hubert into pancakes in the middle of the road, well, not much happens actually. The yellow meter fills back up, but this time it's brown. I really should have known what that meant, but I'm not sure I noticed, because at this point I figured, we must be done, it's time to head home. And then I proceeded to try and find iHouse for a little while, unsuccessfully. Eventually though, I noticed a Stardew pole across the road, and I decided to check it out. Ugh, charming. Not even carrying around any doggy bags to pick up after Hubert. Disgusting. People who don't clean up after their dog's crap in the street should be lined up in the centre of town and pelted with human feces for 45 minutes minimum. Sorry, but that really pisses me off. If you can't be a decent human being, you do not deserve to be treated like one, and you do not deserve to have pets, you scum. Sorry, anyway, back on track. You may be thinking to yourself, sure, this game's kind of weird and kind of gross, but it's definitely not unsettling. Well, at this point, I was thinking the same thing. I guess this game won't be going in the video, but wait. This game is in the video. Okay, I'm gonna fully spoil the end of this game, because if I don't, you'll have no reason to suspect that this game is unsettling at all. And then, there's no point it being in the video really. So, spoiler warning for a 5 to 10 minute long game if you can't be bothered to go play it first. Once Hubert has fully emptied his bowels on 4 Stardew poles, this happens. Oh, hell no! We are getting out of here, Hubert. No mysterious, slow-moving beast of pure hatred is going to ruin our lovely outing. At this point, there's only one thing left to do. Get the f*** out of there. But I'll leave it up to you guys to see how that's done. My Pet Human Hubert is, it's an experience. Is it one that you should experience? I don't know. I'll leave that up to you to decide. The gameplay wasn't exactly the most enthralling, but the weird uncanny environments were fun to walk around for a few minutes, and when the beast came out to play, it genuinely unsettled me. I was not expecting that whatsoever. I thought it was just going to be some dumb little pee-pee poo-poo game, and nothing more. But there was some horror sprinkled in there, and I love an unexpected spook. Burning Snow is the first attempt at creating a 3D game by indie developer Just Core, who has 10 other games on their itch.io page, all 2D games. I really debated whether to include Burning Snow in this video. Not because it's a bad game, it's definitely not, but because, well, it kind of toes the line between unsettling and cozy. And that's not something easy to do, considering they're like diametrically opposed. This is a short narrative game about trying to stay warm and survive in the snowy wilderness long enough to be rescued. When you start the game, you're greeted by this mysterious little cat fella. You never learn their name, or why you're both lost in the snow. I love the design of this dude though. They remind me of a sort of mix between an Animal Crossing villager and Miffy the rabbit. There's something unnerving about how they follow you with that blank stare. Then, when you go to speak to them, they're just so blunt. No niceties, no asking your opinion, just, we're gonna launch a firework. That's the only way anyone will ever find us here. I might be trying to find the creepy vibes where there are none, but to me, it's a little creepy. The aim of this game is to explore your surroundings, looking for matches that have been left behind for some inexplicable reason. Eventually, you stumble upon the previously mentioned firework. How did this cat know that there'd be matches in a firework somewhere nearby? What aren't they telling us? I guess they did say that they can smell pyrotechnics at the start of the game. Maybe they just have an insanely impressive sense of smell. Like those dogs that are trained to sniff out explosives. Along the way, you run into your cat friend again. As you approach them, your screen starts to darken. The music is replaced by an ominous drone, almost like the sound you experience during moments of intense panic, when your blood pressure spikes and all you hear is the rushing of your own blood in your ears. Ice starts to creep in from the corners of your vision, causing everything to blur a little bit. If you speak to your friend, they notice that you're freezing. Then they show you that you can light matches and throw them onto these piles of sticks to start a fire and keep warm. As soon as you light that fire, the ice melts away from around your eyes. The music picks back up and you feel safe once again. Speaking of music, this game's music really helps to enhance the eerie atmosphere of the world. It's subtle, sparse piano music with a cozy vintage warble, like a slightly warped record being played on a vintage turntable from the 60s. If Burning Snow looks like a game that you think you might enjoy, I'd recommend you pause this video and go download it. Give it a quick playthrough. It's only like 10 to 15 minutes, and we're about to delve into like a little bit of spoiler territory. Once you've grabbed the firework and all the matches in the surrounding area, it's time to head back to your campfire at the starting area. But as you start in that direction, an ominous message appears on the screen. It became colder. Oh no. Now it's really freezing out here, so you'll need to use a lot of matches on your journey back, lighting fires as you go. It doesn't take long at all for the ice to start encroaching on your vision every time you step away from the safety of your makeshift campfires. The path back seems far more confusing now that you're in a rush. There are split paths, it could be costly to take the wrong path. You might succumb to your icy fate if you're not careful. Or will you? Eventually, I made it back to camp with a single solitary match to spare. Lucky. Your friend notices that you have the firework and gets you to set it on the stand and launch it. Look at that. What a lovely view. That's it. Let's hope that's enough for them to find us. Though, how many matches do you have left? You must have found a lot near that firework. A hard cut to a black screen. I thought for a moment that my game had crashed, but nope. Cut back, and we see the forest completely engulfed in flames. Whoops! Damn, I guess you overdid it with the fire. But, on the other hand, now they'll certainly find us. The end. I can't tell if that ending was meant to be ominous or hilarious. I felt it towed that line well, like they're still stuck there, and now the forest is on fire. That's worrying, but also, it's just kind of funny that after all that work, you just end up causing a massive forest fire. I didn't see that coming. During my exploration of the area earlier, I ran into something else that I didn't expect to see, a rapier laying in the snow. This was right near the start of the game. I went to pick it up. I thought, there must be monsters in this game or something. Why else would there be a weapon that you can collect? Oh wait, nope. Not yours. That's all it says when you try to pick it up. Alright then, whose is it? Why is it here? I need answers, but there are no answers to be found. Alright, so after I finished the game, I wanted to go back and find out what happens if you don't light a fire and you let yourself freeze. Well, it turns out, you can't freeze. That kinda kills the tension once you find that out. You literally don't need to light any fires. You don't need to collect the matches. You can just grab the firework and run back in a near frozen state to the start of the game and set off the firework. Well, kinda. When I got back to the start, the cat said to me, "Good job," as if I'd set off the firework already. But I hadn't. And I wasn't able to after that. The forest fire cutscene never started. I couldn't do anything. I soft-locked the game accidentally. Now I'm not sure if this was caused by not lighting fires, or not collecting all the matches, or if it was because I'd been doing a second playthrough. Maybe there was some glitch from already having a completed save file. I'm not really sure. A lot of the times these little indie games don't get a huge amount of playtesting. I mean, not for weird inconsistencies anyway. But minor technical bug aside, I had a great time with Burning Snow. I love a short little narrative experience that I can immerse myself in for a few minutes, and then be done with it. It's kind of like sitting down to watch a standalone episode of a TV show. 15 to 20 minutes, and you get to experience the entire thing, start to finish. Perfect. Seriously, I could talk all day about unsettling games that I've found for free on itch.io, but I do kind of need to get this video out sooner rather than later. Alright, I don't really like doing this, like at all. But if you enjoyed the video, can you please leave it a like? It lets me know what kind of stuff you want to see more of. And if you want to see more of me in general, subscribe to the channel. Probably most importantly though, can you leave a comment and just let me know what you thought of the video? Or, even better, leave a comment telling me some of your favourite free itch.io games, because I'm always on the hunt for more, and every comment really does help. Until next time, see ya.